Hey there, friends. Welcome back to English Stories with Alex. I'm Alex Taylor, and I'm absolutely thrilled you're joining me today. How's everyone doing? Are you pumped to discover something game-changing? If you've been dreaming about speaking English with total fluency, confidence, and that natural flow that native speakers have, then you're in for a treat. Today's lesson is going to transform your English journey forever. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss our upcoming lessons that will revolutionize your English learning experience. I'm going to reveal the secret weapon that most English learners miss: how to actually think in English. This skill is absolutely critical if you want to become truly fluent. We've all been there, that frustrating moment when you have to pause mid-conversation, mentally translate everything from your native language into English, and by then, the conversation has moved on. It kills your confidence, slows you down, and honestly, it's exhausting. But imagine if you could just skip that entire translation process. What if your thoughts could naturally form in English from the get-go? I'm here to tell you that not only is this possible, it's totally achievable with the four-stage method I'm about to share. Before we dive in, if you haven't already hit that subscribe button on English Stories with Alex, do it now. I'd hate for you to miss out on our future lessons that will revolutionize your English speaking journey. Plus, when you subscribe, you'll join our amazing community of English learners who are all supporting each other on this path to fluency. All right, let's jump straight into today's life-changing lesson: how to think in English. The first crucial stage in training your brain to think in English is focusing on verbs, those powerful action words that bring language to life. Verbs are the heartbeat of any sentence. They tell us what's happening in real time. Why start with verbs? Because action surrounds us constantly, and when we can identify and think about these actions directly in English, we've begun the process of rewiring our brains for fluency. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're strolling through Central Park in Manhattan. The park is alive with movement and energy. What do you see people doing? Some folks are jogging along the paths. Others are engaged in deep conversation. There's a golden retriever leaping to catch a frisbee, and an elderly man scattering breadcrumbs for eager pigeons. These activities are all expressed through verbs: jog, converse, leap, scatter. By consciously observing the world through the lens of English verbs, you're building neural pathways that bypass translation. This practice isn't limited to exciting locations. You can do it anywhere. Whether you're waiting at a subway station in Chicago, idling at a red light, or relaxing in a coffee shop in Seattle, actions are happening all around you. For example, on a bustling downtown street in San Francisco, you might notice people hustling to meetings, someone cruising on a skateboard, or friends cracking up at a joke. Train yourself to instantly identify these actions in English: hustle, cruise, crack up. But Alex, you might ask, what if I'm just at home where not much is happening? Great question. You can still practice with imagination or visual prompts. Look at a family photo. Maybe people are embracing, smiling, or posing. Even alone in your apartment, identify what you're doing: brewing coffee, folding laundry, or scrolling through social media. Dedicate 5–10 minutes daily to this verb thinking exercise. Choose different environments each day and mentally catalog the actions happening around you. With consistency, your brain will begin automatically processing actions in English, making it increasingly natural to describe activities without translation. Now that you've gotten comfortable thinking in verbs, it's time to expand to nouns, the words that identify people, places, things, and concepts. Just like actions, objects, and entities are everywhere in your daily life. When you can instantaneously think of these names in English, you're building another crucial component of natural English thinking. Let's transport ourselves to Miami Beach, Florida. As you gaze around, you spot the boardwalk, the ocean, and sunbathers soaking up rays. You notice a lifeguard perched in a tower and seagulls diving for scraps. Each of these elements is a noun: boardwalk, ocean, sunbathers, lifeguard, seagulls. This noun thinking practice can happen in any setting. If you're browsing a farmer's market in Portland, Oregon, you'd see produce, honey, crafts, and vendors, all nouns that paint the scene in English. Even sitting in your bedroom, challenge yourself to identify everything: dresser, mirror, pillows, blinds, smartphone. Another fantastic exercise is to mentally catalog what you're carrying with you. What's in your backpack or purse? Perhaps a water bottle, earbuds, hand sanitizer, and wallet. By consistently naming these items directly in English rather than in your native language, you're strengthening your ability to think in English without translation. Set aside time each day to name objects around you in English. Whether you're at a baseball game in Boston, naming things like stadium, bleachers, hot dogs, and fans, or in your kitchen, identifying appliances, make it a habit to label everything in English. The more consistently you practice, the more automatic this process becomes. As many viewers of English Stories with Alex have shared in our community, this simple practice has dramatically improved their vocabulary retention and helped them think more naturally in English. Once you've built some comfort with thinking in English verbs and nouns, you're ready for the next level, forming complete sentences in your mind. This is where you start connecting those verbs and nouns to describe what's happening around you in full, coherent thoughts. Start simple here. Don't worry about crafting elaborate sentences with complex grammar. Focus instead on creating clear, straightforward sentences that capture what you're observing. For instance, if you're hiking in the Rockies in Colorado, you might think, "The hikers are climbing the trail, the wind is whistling through the pines. My heart is racing from the altitude." These sentences aren't complicated, but they're tremendously valuable for training your brain to process complete thoughts in English without reverting to your native language. Now imagine you're at a music festival in Nashville, Tennessee. How would you describe the scene? The band is playing country music. Fans are singing along to every word. Vendors are selling cowboy hats and boots. These simple sentences effectively capture the essence of what's happening. As this becomes more comfortable, gradually increase the complexity of your sentences. For example, if you're touring the National Mall in Washington, D.C., you might think, "A group of high school students is taking photos in front of the Lincoln Memorial while their teacher is explaining the historical significance of the monument to those who are actually listening." This sentence combines multiple observations and creates a more detailed picture of the scene. The goal here is to transition from thinking in isolated words to thinking in complete English sentences, a crucial step toward fluency, as you won't need to mentally construct each sentence piece by piece. Instead, your thoughts will naturally form as complete ideas in English. Daily, spend 10-15 minutes describing your surroundings in complete English sentences, whether you're at home, at work, or exploring a new neighborhood. Practice forming coherent thoughts that describe what you see. If you're at a basketball game in Los Angeles, you might think, "The player is dribbling down the court. The crowd is cheering wildly. The coach is shouting instructions from the sideline." This consistent practice will make thinking in English sentences increasingly second nature. In future episodes of English Stories with Alex, we'll explore even more creative ways to practice this skill. The final stage in your journey to thinking in English is moving from individual sentences to connected paragraphs. This means describing scenes, events, or ideas in fuller detail, creating a complete mental narrative without translation. Imagine you're standing at the Grand Canyon in Arizona at sunset. Here's how you might describe it in a connected paragraph. "I'm standing at the edge of the Grand Canyon, completely mesmerized by the breathtaking view before me. The canyon stretches endlessly, with layers of red, orange, and purple rock catching the golden light of the setting sun. Several tourists around me are snapping photos, trying to capture this majestic moment, but no camera could truly do it justice. I can hear snippets of conversation in various languages as people from around the world share this wonder. The air feels cool against my skin as the day's heat begins to fade, and I'm overwhelmed with gratitude for experiencing such natural magnificence. In this paragraph, you've combined verbs, standing, stretches, snapping, nouns, canyon, tourists, photos, and complete sentences to create a vivid, immersive description. By practicing this level of thinking, you're developing the ability to process and express complex thoughts directly in English without the interference of translation. Let's try another example. Imagine you're exploring Pike Place Market in Seattle, Washington. Your mental paragraph might flow like this. The market is buzzing with activity as locals and tourists browse the countless stalls. I'm intoxicated by the aroma of fresh seafood, blooming flowers, and artisanal coffee that mingles in the air. Fishmongers are playfully tossing enormous salmon to each other while onlookers gasp and applaud. Street musicians fill the atmosphere with soulful melodies that somehow perfectly complement the cheerful chaos of commerce. The famous original Starbucks has a line stretching down the block, but nobody seems to mind the wait. There's something magical about how this historic market captures the essence of Pacific Northwest culture in every sight, sound, and taste. When you practice thinking in paragraphs like this, you're training your brain to process complex, connected ideas in English without interruption. This advanced stage is essential because it helps you not only think in English, but express yourself with the natural flow and depth that characterizes true fluency. Let's consider one more example to reinforce this practice. Imagine you're having dinner at a steakhouse in Texas. I'm sitting at a rustic wooden table in this authentic Texas steakhouse, surrounded by the warm glow of vintage lighting and the animated conversations of fellow diners. The aroma of grilled meat is absolutely mouth-watering, making my stomach growl in anticipation. My server, who introduced himself as Dustin, has the most charming southern drawl I've ever heard and has already made me feel like a regular with his attentive yet relaxed demeanor. Country music plays softly in the background, occasionally punctuated by cheerful birthday celebrations at neighboring tables. The walls are decorated with local memorabilia, cattle brands, black and white photos of ranchers, and even a mounted longhorn that seems to watch over the dining room with quiet dignity. Despite being a visitor, there's something about this place that feels undeniably like coming home. In this paragraph, you've woven together all the elements of English thinking to create a rich, multi-sensory description that captures both the physical scene and your emotional response to it. Challenge yourself to mentally narrate your experiences in paragraph form. Start with a simple exercise. Take a few minutes to describe your day in a connected paragraph, and from morning to evening. What did you do? Who did you interact with? How did you feel? For example, today was unexpectedly rewarding. I woke up before my alarm feeling refreshed for the first time in weeks. The morning sunlight was streaming through my blinds, creating patterns on my bedroom wall that I'd never noticed before. After brewing a particularly good cup of coffee, I tackled that work presentation I'd been dreading. And to my surprise, the ideas flowed effortlessly. My boss, Amanda, sent an appreciative email about my contribution to the project. After work, I met my friend Carlos for dinner at that new Mexican restaurant downtown. The enchiladas were incredible, perfectly spiced with just the right amount of heat. We lost track of time talking about our travel plans for next year, and I realized how much I've missed those kinds of conversations that leave you feeling energized rather than drained. This type of daily narrative practice not only helps you think in English, but improves your ability to recall, describe, and connect ideas, essential skills for engaging conversations and storytelling. In upcoming episodes of English Stories with Alex, I'll be sharing more advanced techniques for narrative thinking, along with real success stories from our community members who've mastered this skill. The progress I've seen in their fluency is truly remarkable. By now, you should have a clear understanding of the four powerful stages that will transform how you process English. 1. Think in verbs. Focus on action words and mentally identify what's happening around you. 2. Think in nouns. Name the people, places, and objects in your environment directly in English. 3. Think in sentences. Combine verbs and nouns to form complete thoughts without translation. 4. Think in paragraphs. Connect your thoughts into detailed, flowing descriptions and narratives. Each stage builds upon the previous one, gradually rewiring your brain to process information directly in English. The key to success is consistent practice. These aren't one-time exercises, but ongoing habits that will fundamentally change how you relate to English. Now that you understand the method, let's talk about why it's so transformative. When you first start learning English, translating from your native language is natural and necessary, but this creates a cognitive bottleneck that prevents true fluency. Instead of expressing yourself smoothly, you experience those frustrating pauses while your brain works overtime, translating each thought before you can speak it. This not only slows you down, but can seriously undermine your confidence. You might know the vocabulary and grammar, but if you're still translating, you'll always feel like you're struggling to keep up. By practicing thinking in English, you eliminate that translation barrier entirely. Your thoughts naturally form in English, making your speech faster, more fluid, and significantly more confident. When you can think in English, conversations become genuinely enjoyable rather than stressful tests of your language abilities. Consider a real-world example. Imagine you're interviewing for your dream job in New York City. The interviewer asks about a challenging project you managed previously. If you're thinking in your native language, you'll need precious seconds to translate your experiences before responding, seconds that can make you appear hesitant or unprepared. But if you've trained yourself to think in English, you can respond immediately and articulately, showcasing not just your professional experience, but your communication skills as well. The same applies whether you're networking at a conference, chatting with neighbors, or explaining symptoms to a doctor. Thinking in English makes every interaction smoother and more successful. Many dedicated viewers of English Stories with Alex have shared how these techniques help them ace job interviews, make new friends, and feel truly at home in English-speaking environments. Their success stories inspire me to continue creating these lessons for you. Now that you understand the four-stage framework, here are some practical exercises to help you implement this approach in your daily life. Batuturi. Then environmental narration. Spend 10 to 15 minutes each day describing your surroundings in English. This could be during your commute, lunch break, or evening walk. Challenge yourself to notice details you might normally overlook and describe them using increasingly specific language. Second, media immersion. Choose photos, advertisements, or scenes from American TV shows and describe them in detail. For example, if you're looking at a scene from a popular sitcom, you might think, the characters are gathered in a cozy living room with mismatched furniture that somehow works together perfectly. The main character looks embarrassed while her friends are doubled over with laughter. There's a half-eaten pizza on the coffee table and holiday decorations hanging slightly crooked on the wall. Third, English journal. End each day by writing a short entry in English. Start with highlights from your day, then gradually expand to include your thoughts, feelings, and reflections. The physical act of writing reinforces the mental process of thinking in English. 4. Self-talk practice. Have conversations with yourself in English about topics that interest you. Explain why you love your favorite movie. Describe your ideal vacation or talk through a problem you're trying to solve. This builds your ability to form and express opinions directly in English. 5. Immersion challenges. Set specific periods throughout your day when you commit to thinking exclusively in English. Start with just 5 minutes and gradually increase as your comfort grows. During these periods, if you catch yourself thinking in your native language, gently redirect your thoughts back to English without judgment. Learning to think in English is truly a transformative journey that requires patience, practice, and persistence. The more you engage with the language, not just studying it, but living in it mentally, the more natural it will feel to think, speak, and express yourself authentically in English. By following the 4 stages, verbs, nouns, sentences, and paragraphs, you're building a solid foundation that will support your journey to true fluency. Remember that the key to success isn't perfection, but consistency. Practice these techniques daily, even if just for a few minutes, and you'll be amazed at how quickly your relationship with English transforms. It's completely normal to make mistakes along the way. In fact, those moments of struggle are often where the deepest learning happens. When you catch yourself slipping back into translation, don't get discouraged. Simply notice it, appreciate your awareness, and gently guide yourself back to thinking in English. The beauty of this approach is that it integrates seamlessly into your everyday life. No special equipment or study materials needed, just your attention and commitment to viewing the world through the lens of English thinking. So, are you ready to take this life-changing step in your English journey? Start practicing today, right now even, and soon you'll experience the freedom and confidence that comes from thinking naturally in English. The world opens up in amazing ways when language is no longer a barrier, but a bridge. Thank you for joining me today on English Stories with Alex. If you found this lesson valuable, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our upcoming lessons. Our next episode will dive even deeper into advanced fluency techniques that build on what you've learned today. Remember to share your experiences and progress in the comments below. I personally read every comment and love connecting with this incredible community. The English Stories with Alex family is growing every day, and I'm so grateful to have you with us on this journey to English mastery. Keep practicing, stay curious, and I'll see you in our next transformative lesson. This is Alex Taylor signing off.